wasn't scary. I was just pretty much astonished at some of the things I saw.
I started crying because I was so, I just felt so uncomfortable.
It was like, okay, go in and let's see what happens. If somebody looks like they want to take my head off, it's like, I'm out of here.
There are a number of things that could have happened to this 16-year-old kid in that place in 1966.
This story is about a high school student exchange between Rufus King High School in Milwaukee and Kaukauna High School up in the Fox River Valley. And a social studies teacher at Kaukauna High School wanted his kids to have a broader view of the world. So to do that, he was going to have them perform a play. The play he chose was In White America, the history of African Americans from slavery to civil rights. This all happened in 1966.
My dad took heat for this. Not everyone agreed with the idea of this play and this exchange. I think he kind of liked that because I think it proved his point that we need this play.
It was a very exciting time. There was a civil rights movement that was happening and people were dressing differently. The change was in the air and it felt like we were part of something that was good and necessary.
The great American myth that you can put yourself up by your own bootstraps, that there aren't any obstacles to getting ahead, like race, class, gender. It's all myth, but it remains the centerpiece of American ideology, that anybody who wants to get ahead can get ahead, and it's nonsense.
We're right on the precipice, we're right at that moment where that radical element is emerging and starting to sort of take the lead around what we would consider movements for equality. And so maybe 66 is that pivotal moment where you can have a racial exchange that has a meaningful impact.
It's rather strange coming up into a small town. Milwaukee is a large town, and Kaukauna is very small. You have to get used to it. It's very hard to adapt to.
We were known as, that's the guy with the foreign car. That was a minority, and you didn't even think about skin color minorities. So that's radical. Add to that the idea that you're going to have hosts who will have black kids here. I think that's radical too for a lot of the people out there.
I think in 1966, the black population of Kaukauna was 1.
It's really hard to know who's a good guy and who's a bad guy.
They were very brave to say, yes, we're going to do this.
Oh no, where is Kaukauna? And how far up north is Kaukauna?
They want to, go out and meet you, but they're sort of afraid.
The impact of the experience of the exchange on the people who were involved stayed with them their whole life. I believe it's something that happened in Wisconsin that nobody knows about unless they were involved in it, but everybody should know about, because it's a way for people to get to know each other and a way for people to learn to live with each other.
To talk about In White America as a work of literature that has an impact upon your life, that was important. The image of the sagging American flag is exactly what I wanted the kids to see.
Do you think this is the kind of production that can bring people together?
Absolutely, especially when you see kids do it.
After 500 years of barbaric treatment, the American Negro is fed up with the unmitigated hypocrisy of the white man.
If God intended for the races to mix, he would have done it himself. He put each color in a different place.
Look at me. Look at my arms.
So 50 years later, it was revived at Rufus King High School with a new generation of high school students, a multi-ethnic cast.
I'm being tried here for fighting for the rights of my people who are still second-class citizens in this United States. You want to shut up every Negro.
What happened back then is still happening now, just in different ways. And this is something that we wanted to express and get out, and it was great we got to do that with our cast. It brought us all closer.
Was it emotional for you?
A little bit, yeah.
How so?
Because times can be troublesome knowing that I can walk out the door and not make it back home. I can be pulled over simply because of my skin for no reason.
Find it very distressing. We should be so much further along. To think we were so much farther along even in the 60s.
Emmett Till.
Trayvon Martin. Sharika Wilson.
Katherine Johnston.
We should not fool ourselves to think that we are going to, in some magical way, get outside of this thing called race and racism. We're stuck with that. But that's why we need these important stories. That's why we need folks who are brave enough to challenge the color line and the racial status quo.
There is a lot more change need to come, should come. You know, when they say joy comes in the morning, it need to come now.